the worse it's going to be. The more mistakes that we make along the way, the greater the imbalances that build up. So yes, we have a lot more to reckon with when that day arrives, and it's close upon us. Again, the only thing that really kept us going was the cheap money and the reserve currency status of the dollar. So we could borrow at low interest rates, and we had willing lenders because the dollar was the reserve currency. Well, we're losing both of those props. Rates can't stay low because inflation genie is out of the bottle, and the idea that it's gone is nonsense now. And the dollar's role as reserve currency is in jeopardy. The de-dollarization process has begun. And by the way, while I'm thinking about it, why doesn't anybody in the media, and again, I mean, I'm probably just asking a rhetorical question anyway, but why doesn't the media question Powell about his inflation averaging? Because it was 2 years ago. It was in 2020 when inflation was about 2% as measured by the CPI. And so the Fed should have started to raise rates and do quantitative tightening because we were at the so-called 2% target, right? We were there. We had finally made it to the promised land, right? The reason that we had 0% rates, the reason we were doing QE, according to the Fed, was that inflation was still below 2% and the target was 2. And so we have to keep the pedal to the metal until we hit 2. Well, we're at 2, right? Instead of celebrating and saying, okay, we're there, now we can take our foot off the pedal, we can let rates go up, we don't need QE anymore, we got 2%. What did Powell do? Well, conveniently, the Fed came out and said, you know what? We came up with a new idea about our target. We don't just want to hit 2% each year and just look at each year individually. We want to look at all the years over a long period of time, and we want an average. We don't want to have a 2% target each year. We want all the years to average 2%. And since we just had several years where inflation was below 2%, now we need to have inflation a little bit above 2% because, see, then it'll average 2%. Now, I said that was BS. The minute the Fed did that, I said, look, they're just making this up because they don't want to raise rates, because they don't want to collapse the bubble. So they came up with an excuse while they can allow inflation to be a little bit above 2%. Now, of course, when they said that, they were thinking 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. But again, I also said that it was nonsense, that we have to make up for the years that we didn't have enough inflation. I mean, that's asinine. So you're telling me that because inflation was 1.7% in the prior year, that we need 2.3 to make up for it? Like, hey, my cost of living didn't go up enough last year. It only went up by 1.7%. And so this year, I need to have my cost of living go up 2.3% just so I get the 2% that I'm supposed to get. Why am I supposed to get that? Why do I need an increase in my cost of living at all? You know, there are a lot of people who are struggling, who would like to see the cost of living go down, right? Why not let that happen? No, the Fed wants to deliver a 2% increase. And if we are unlucky enough, right, to not have 2% inflation in 1 year, well, we're going to make up for it by having more than 2% the next year. Well, the point I'm trying to make is we've had, what, 9% 1 year, or 6%, whatever it is. We're going to be so many years above 2%. If the Fed ever gets us down to 2%, which it's probably not going to do, what I'd like to hear somebody ask Powell is, okay, in 2000, you said that we no longer had a 2% inflation target. We had a 2% average inflation target. Well, now we've spent so many years way above 2%. Does that mean the Fed is going to target below 2%? Are you going to target 1% or 0.5% for a while? Because we have a lot of catching up to do. If you want to average inflation back down to 2%, right, well, we're going to need to be way below 2% to bring that average down. You see, when it was below 2%, he wanted to average it up. But if it's above 2%, doesn't that mean we should average it down? Now, obviously, the Fed's not going to say that, right? It's heads they win, tails we lose when it comes to inflation. If inflation is too low, we need to average it up. But if it's too high, well, we never get to average it down. Well, if that's the case, is the Fed going to officially come out and say that's not our policy anymore? We're changing back to a 2% target. We no longer care about average inflation rates. Of course, they never cared about it. It was BS then. Everything the Fed says is BS. They're just trying to postpone, delay the day of reckoning. They don't want to admit the mistakes that they've made and the disaster that awaits, or they don't even understand the mistakes that they made or the disaster that awaits. But either way, they're either going to lie to us or they're not smart enough to tell the truth because they don't know the truth. But I'm going to tell you the truth. I understand economics. I'm not afraid to speak my mind and lay it out. And yeah, I'm early. I'm always going to be early. Anybody who has an understanding of this stuff is going to be early. That's, all of these, the prophets, the people that were, Cassandras, and not that I'm not a prophet or anything, but the reason that some people are able to predict what the masses can't is because the masses are asses. They're not seeing what's obvious. So then you get somebody who can see what's obvious, and according to everybody else, well, he must be some kind of messiah, right? He's some kind of clairvoyant, he was able to see into the future. No, he wasn't. He just understood the present. It's just that everybody else was blind to what should have been obvious. And that's the situation we're in right now. It's not that I'm so smart, it's that everybody else is so dumb. Anyway, that's it for today's podcast. Don't forget, take advantage, though, of this decline in the price of gold. I intend to. Maybe it'll be down a little bit more on Monday. This is very bullish news for gold. If you want to buy gold, you want to buy silver, talk to the guys over at Schiff Gold to get your gold and silver. And again, these mining stocks are looking super cheap. A lot of my other stocks continue to move up. The mining stocks continue a correction right now. It hasn't been that big a correction, but it is a correction. But you know what? They never went up nearly as much as they should have. Gold made a 52-week high. Gold stocks didn't even really get 20% up, didn't even get 20% below their 52-week high, and they're already correcting. So there's a good drop there. So again, talk to the representatives at Euro Pacific Asset Management, Europac.com, to learn about our strategies that include or specifically focus on the mining stocks, or check out the Euro Pacific Gold Fund. It's available on all of the discount brokerage platforms. You could buy that fund if you're willing to accept the risk. Maybe Monday will be a good day to buy it if you don't already own it, and it may be a good day to buy more if you do. Anyway, read the prospectus before you do. And that's it for today. I'll be back again with more episodes of the Peter Schiff Show Podcast live. Take care, everybody.